Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming to our third grade concert titled Music Around the World. Our students have been studying about habitats, continents, and cultures in their science and social studies classes, and this program extends their learning through the use of music. A special thank you to our third grade teachers, Mrs. Lee, Mrs. Rock, Mrs. Malco, Mrs. Coulter, Mrs. Brady, Mrs. Rohr, and Mrs. Melton. Third grade IAs and special area teachers, Mrs. Down, Mrs. Thomas, Mrs. Walkman, and Mrs. Thompson-Reimer. And also a shout out to our custodians, our Riddle office staff. And also thank you to parent volunteers, Mrs. Williams, Miss Jana, and Mrs. Trottier for their help backstage and before and after the concert. A big thank you to Devin Gibbons for his help running the sound, and Mrs. McMillan and Miss Allen back there for helping to get all the extra details organized. And the Rochester High School students who are running the music, lights, and recording this performance. Okay? After the concert, your students will go to their gathering rooms, and I'll say this again at the end of the concert. So if your student is in Mrs. Rock, Mrs. Brady, or Mrs. Coulter's class, they are in the library. If your student is in Mrs. Malco's, Mrs. Lee's, or Mrs. Rohr's class, they are in the choir room. Okay? Just an announcement, but please do not stand in the doorways or aisles for safety reasons. Any crying or noisy children, please take them out so as to not to distract from the performance. Our high school is recording tonight's performance. Watch for the broadcast on Channel 4 TV, and can also contact RTC if you'd like to purchase a copy. Our One School, One Book program will be selling some ice cream after the concert, so if you're interested in that fundraiser and some ice cream, it'll be right outside the doors here in the cafeteria. Okay. Oh, and a reminder to please silence your cell phones, so if you just take a quick look at that to make sure those are on silence, that would be wonderful. Okay. We have our disclaimer from the federal government that we'll go ahead and read here. Okay, this performance includes copyrighted materials which have been properly licensed specifically for this event. However, audio and or video recording for rebroadcast or distribution in any way without the express written consent and proper license from the author is a violation of federal copyright law and is prohibited. Okay? I have never had anybody from the federal government contact me, so just a heads up. I think you're going to be okay. But without further ado, I think our third graders are back there and are ready to go. Welcome to tonight's third grade music extravaganza, where we will take you across the world as we learn about music from many different places. Tonight we will take you from our home, the USA, to places like Europe and Asia. We will explore different cultures and languages through music. So sit back and explore with us as we present to you Music Around the World.
Songs we greet you and how we treat you.
We start our journey with our continent, North America. North America is the third largest continent and is made up of three major countries: Canada, Mexico, and the United States. This continent is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean on the east and the Pacific Ocean on the west. The northern part, which includes Alaska, is in the super cold tundra, and Hawaii, which has a tropical climate. Three main languages that are spoken are French and English in Canada, English in the US, and Spanish in Mexico and smaller countries. But let's take a closer look at the best country, the United States, where you can hear many kinds of music from hip-hop, and rock and roll to country and classical. It is also where people say that nothing is as American as baseball and apple pie. Baseball first came here from England and was played in alleys and vacant lots. Then in 1845, New York City hosted the first organized baseball game. New York City is also home to the first Major League Baseball stadium, Fenway Park. In 1908, they started singing the Tin Pan Alley song, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," before the seventh inning of the game. Please listen to America's favorite pastime song, which is sung at almost every baseball game. Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Europeans and Native Americans influenced American culture and music. Colonial music came from the classical music of Europe. When the pioneers started moving west, they left behind this classical colonial music. Pioneers needed dance and music for their social times. They created new types of music and dance. The square dance was one of those folk dances created and is uniquely American. In fact, it's the USA's official national folk dance. Watch our version of an American square dance as we sing Alabama Gal. Let's cross the border to Mexico. We get chocolate, corn, and chilies from Mexico. This country sits on a large volcano and earthquake zone. Mexican music was influenced by ancient native cultures and their immigrants from Spain. The main instruments used in their music are trumpets, maracas, and guitars. We have 2 songs from Mexico for you. We will be singing a song about how we make music with our bodies in Spanish, but first, we bring to you a famous Mexican cartoon character in a national folk song with a Latin American flair, Don Gato. Across the Atlantic Ocean we go, and to our next stop, Europe. Europe is the 6th largest continent, which means that it is only larger than Australia. Even though it is a smaller continent, it has 46 different countries, yet each country has its own language. Our next song celebrates these languages. Europe is where music history began. Music started to be written on paper during the Renaissance. Baroque music made Bach famous. The classical period of music featured great composers like Mozart and Beethoven. It is Mozart who is considered the greatest composer of all time. He started writing music at the age of 5. He wrote over 600 pieces of music. Europe has a mountain range called the Alps. If you are in France, they are the French Alps. And if you are in Switzerland, they are called the Swiss Alps. Europe used to have a different kind of money for each country. Today, most countries in Europe use the euro. The foods are very different as well. Belgian waffles, French crepes, German Wiener Schnitzel. But we are going to sing about our favorite from Italy, pasta. So I can twirl my spaghetti. Grazie.
Please bring out a pan of lasagna. Simply grand, I'm sure you'll agree. Sprinkle with a dash of Romano. Pasta sure has been good to me. Pasta, pasta, I love pasta. It's a wonderful food. Macaroni, macaroni, and spaghetti too. Pasta, pasta, I love pasta. It's the look you see. Fettuccine, tortellini, Please bring out a pan of lasagna. Simply grand, I'm sure you'll agree. Sprinkle with a dash of Romano. Pasta sure has been good to me. Pasta, pasta, I love pasta. It's a wonderful food. Macaroni, macaroni, and spaghetti too. Pasta, pasta, I love pasta. It's the look you see. Fettuccine, tortellini, ravioli. Pasta, pasta, me.
Russia is a country that is part of Europe and Asia. Russia borders the frigid Arctic Ocean to the north and also has part of the Himalaya Mountains. Russia has a long history of influencing music from folk songs to sacred music. Traditional instruments played for Russian folk songs include the violin, clarinet, and the accordion. The most famous Russian composer was Tchaikovsky, who wrote many beautiful ballets. Our next song is a traditional Russian folk song about a perfect day.
May the sun shine forever, may blue skies be forever, may the river be long, may the river be mine. May the sun shine forever, skies be forever, may the river be long, may the river be mine. May the sun shine forever, may blue skies be forever, may the river be long, may the river be me. May the sun shine forever, may blue skies be forever, may the river be long, may the river be me.
Asia is the largest continent and has the country with the largest population, China, as well as the largest country, Russia. It also includes the countries of India, Japan, and Korea. It is home to the largest mountains, the Himalayas. Mount Everest is found in Asia. Many of the countries of Asia make up what we call the Orient. Oriental written and spoken language is very different from ours. Their music is also very different. It has been traced back over 7,000 years. This unique music uses chimes, bells, and a 5-note scale that is called a pentatonic scale. The first known instrument came from this part of the world. It was a flute-type instrument made from a bone and is called a dizzy. They also play instruments like the zither, kin, and pipa. This song from China uses the pentatonic scale and is played on a zither. Next stop, Africa. Africa is the second largest continent in the world. There are 54 countries that make up Africa, yet there are over 1,000 different languages spoken. Africa has the largest desert in the world, the Sahara. There are some areas of rainforest with large jungles in the central part of Africa, and the savanna region that is good for taking a safari. Many of the African countries have their own type of money. Coastal regions eat a lot of fish, while most countries enjoy eating plantains, which look a lot like a small banana. African people use music and dance for celebrations and special occasions. Different kinds of drums and rhythm-making instruments are used for their music, chants, and dances. Listen as we sing for you a folk song from Ghana and another song, a nonsense song from Morocco, two African countries. Both are sung using indigenous tribal languages. No music tour around the world would be complete without taking a look at our continent neighbors to the south. The fourth largest continent, South America, home of the Amazon River and rainforest. South America has both the driest and wettest places on Earth. Immigrants from Italy, Spain, and Portugal have given the music of this area a European flavor. We call it Latin American music. Dances and music are a big part of South American culture and can be heard most everywhere, even in the city streets. It is part of every celebration and special occasions like carnival time. We have two songs from South America for you tonight, a tango from Argentina and an instrumental piece called Armadillo.
Everybody
Our final destination for tonight is the continent of Australia, also called Oceania. It is the smallest inhabited continent. It is also known as the island continent because it is made up of only islands. The one very big island is the country of Australia, and then there are about 30,000 smaller islands that are found in the Pacific Ocean north and east of the big island. These small islands make up what is called the Polynesian Islands. The name makes sense because the word Polynesia means region of many islands. Australia is the flattest continent and is home to the world's largest reef system. Some unique animals found here are the koala, kangaroos, and the kookaburra. They also have dangerous snakes like the brown snake and tiger snake. To the north of the country of Australia is the Torres Strait. In this area, there are 240 islands, but only 17 have people living on them. Our next song comes from one of these inhabited islands. Tabanaba is a song about fishing in the coral reef and is sung in the island's native language. Polynesia is roughly a triangular shape of islands that are part of the continent of Australia, with New Zealand, Hawaii, and Easter Island making the three corners of the triangle. These islands are made of rugged high mountains formed by volcanoes and low island reefs. They have a tropical to moderate climate. Twinkling guitars, rhythm instruments, and grass skirts describe the music of Polynesia. They also use a bamboo nose flute. Yes, it is played with your nose. And the ukulele. Their dancers use hand gestures and hip movements to tell a story. Our next song is a traditional Polynesian song called Tonga. We will be singing it in Polynesian. Rock and roll music started in Memphis, Tennessee by combining several kinds of music like blues, jazz, country, and gospel. It evolved in the 1950s and spawned dance crazes called the twist and jitterbug. Elvis Presley was called the king of rock and roll. When the Beatles started their band, rock and roll spread all around the world and is still found in most countries today. One of the first rock and roll songs was Rock Around the Clock, sung by Bill Haley and the Comets. But we have another famous early rock and roll classic for you tonight, Rockin' Robin. Twiddly-diddly-dee, 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 tweet, tweet.
He rocks in his guitar, song hopping and bopping and singing a song. All the little birds in Chamber Street love to hear how he goes beat, beat.
And so our journey ends. As we have explored our world, we have found many differences between people, the land, and their cultures. Thank you for coming tonight. We hope you have enjoyed our musical journey around the world and have learned a few things along the way. Remember, no matter if you prefer pop, rock and roll, hip-hop, country, or classical music, music is still a universal language and will always be enjoyed any place life may take you. And music also helps us see how people around the world are the same in many ways, making this a small world after all.
There's so much that we share. It is time to remember. It's a small world after all. 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 It's a small, small world. There is just one moon and one golden sun, and a smile means friendship to everyone. Though the mountains divide and the oceans are wide, it's a small world after all. 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 It's a small, small world.
Let's hear it for these third graders.
How about a round of applause for Mrs. Weaver? All right.
They control themselves long enough. You guys ready to play?
I think that's the best part of the concert right there. Hey, good job, third grade. One more round of applause for our performance tonight.